Another monogod faction I haven't covered much of recently is Khorne, and here we've got a replay courtesy of Flying Taco, in which he's taken the Chaos Lord of Khorne on a Gorby's chariot. I don't know if I've ever actually seen anyone take this in a multiplayer match before, so I'm quite excited about this. For the rest of the build here, he's got some bloodletters with minotaurs, so not looking for any shields or armor, just all maximum damage and mobility versus the wood elves here. We've got some flesh hounds, plenty of them, and chaos warhounds, some furies up in the sky as well. Looks like some knights of Khorne with axe and shield on this side. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a lot of mobility, a lot of hard hitting. Again, bloodletters absolutely will mow through things like dryads, no problem. Any wood elf infantry, to be honest. And they're fast enough. 38 speed is pretty quick. Would struggle to keep up with something like Weight Watchers, I think. I don't remember Weight Watcher speed off the top of my head. There's not any in this build, though. Instead, this wood elf player choosing to go with quite a bit of melee component with some skirmish cavalry. We've got 4 Hagbane tips here. The Hagbane tips do confirm magic damage as well, so that's going to be pretty good against these demonic units, plus poison. Also got Forest Dragons, again, magic damage and melee, plus poison makes them quite nice. The Zotes also have magic damage, and would weaken spell resistance. I guess that is applicable against Khorne in certain instances. Are there any actual damage spells, though, is the question. No, it's all Lore of Life from the Spell Weaver. Of course, the Zotes also have some life support and healing as well. And then we've got some Glade Riders. So let's get things rolling here. As Taco takes his big, wide Khorne rush and prepares to engage, he's going to eat some volleys here on these Warhounds. That's fine. It's the cheapest unit in this entire build, so totally fine that they take those arrows rather than something else. They can kind of duck and dodge a little bit too. Use up some of that accuracy. But let's see here. Looks like the elves are going to get some not so decent volleys so far. Yeah, not really super effective as the hounds are ducking and dodging quite effectively. Flying Taco, of course, a veteran player, one of the heads of the XMT clan, just generally a great dude. This replay was entitled specifically Smash Elves, so I think you can gather his intentions from that in and of itself. Yeah, this Chaos Chariot Lord actually doesn't have any infantry to fight. It's all large cavalry mobility stuff from the Wood Elves, so it's going to be a little bit sad in that, but let's see how this assault goes here. Yeah, so far the Glade Riders haven't really been able to get tons of damage. One of these Bloodletters took about a quarter of its HP in damage. Here they're going to get some pretty nice volleys as well. Yeah, look at the damage they're able to do to those Bloodletters with just a couple of volleys. Definitely a good reason to take the Hagbane tips, even besides just the poison. Physical resistance is significant. 20% means that those non-magical arrows would be getting their damage reduced. Not an insane amount, but it does definitely add up over time. You know, if you calculate each arrow losing a small amount of damage times however many models and arrows they each carry, over time it definitely adds up to be a big difference in damage. So having that magic helps. And of course, poison's just always very good, especially against a high weapon strength faction. But oh yeah, here we go. Gorby's Chariot Lord getting involved. Going to run a little distraction campaign here against these crimson-clad Wood Elves. I have to say, they are matched very well to their Khornate brethren. The Bloodfather, no doubt, approves of their choice of attire for this particular occasion. One Fury's going to get swiped out of the sky by a Forest Dragon, who's taken that tiny bit of damage in the process, but Zotes come forward. They're going to try and get a surround on the Chaos Lord here. The Knights momentarily pull back. Looks like we've got the Minotaurs and Griffins both closing, though, trying to get at some of those expensive large targets. The Chaos Knights also countercharge in here as their textures start to pop in. Going to get a beautiful rear charge on those Zotes. And despite the fact the Lord is taking an absolute beating here from those Zotes, it is a pretty nice bait there for Khorne to be able to take some, not free damage, but definitely pretty good damage there. Looks like a little bit of healing, perhaps. Yeah, Earthblood trying to heal up the Enigmas. They now pull back. Flesh Hounds, Chaos Warhounds getting tangled up with the Glade Riders. We also got some Bloodletters moving into combat here, and it's just generally getting quite chaotic, which of course will favor Khorne. Zotes and Great Weapon Minotaurs meeting out in the open field here. Elite Anti-Large versus Elite Anti-Large. Khorne's going to swing things in their favor, though, with the Furies getting a really nice rear charge here. The Dragon also piles in, so both sides escalating significantly in that little blob. Looks like these Glade Riders are trying to get a nice speed to fire in, but Flesh Hounds are here kind of disrupting them. Got more Warhounds also closing, more Flesh Hounds can close there, so Flying Taco doing a nice job so far of managing those skirmish cavalry and these different threats, although his lord has taken a significant amount of damage. If it goes down, of course, it could start to have leadership issues, which will punish these demonic units in particular, but right now they're all holding pretty firm. Flesh Hounds especially a little bit vulnerable, but the Bloodletters mostly were needing to be kited here, but unfortunately, with the Glade Riders being mostly caught up, they're going to obviously struggle to do so, and yeah, it'll be a quick victory as the Wood Elf player there throws in the towel. Yeah, Persian Warrior just kind of getting completely overrun there, not wanting to play out the rest of the battle, which I definitely understand. Chariot Lord, like I said, didn't actually have any infantry to try and punish, so unfortunately we don't get to see his performance in that respect, but running Distraction, he was quite effective and allowed these Chaos Knights, and particularly the Minotaurs, get in there and wreck those Oats. I mean, it's definitely a bold move from Persian Warrior to take a build like this. I would definitely say Spear Dancers are going to be one of the go-to units in this matchup to tangle large, and then you think about, like, what can kill the Spear Dancers, right? That's some of the anti-infantry of Khorne, so you can cover those bases like with the Glade Riders and some other tools, but trying to go melee versus melee with the Zoats is just not a good plan, I feel. I don't know. The Dragons can be decent value here as well, but in this particular battle, they just didn't have enough numbers of support to be able to significantly tangle. Like Breath Attacks also probably needed to go into these Bloodletters and whatnot. But yeah, definitely a fun and quick and bloody one, obviously, from Khorne. Just quickly mouse over the values so you guys can see here. I mean, Wood Elves, nothing really to write home about. I do like the Hagbane tips, but again, lack of numbers here and Taco's mass amounts of mobility. I mean, he's got 6, like, very fast units here, with then 3 sort of heavy cavalry-ish speed units. Yeah, all of that combined means that even though everything for Persian Warrior is mobile, they kind of just end up getting isolated and bursted down. Bloodletters, again, though, that infantry speed does make a difference. It's interesting in this matchup to go with the Bloodletters rather than something like Chaos Warriors, who obviously have the armor and shields to try and shrug off the damage, but are going to have no hope whatsoever of catching any Wood Elf infantry, right? 28 speed, it's just not going to happen. Whereas Bloodletters, 838 speed, you could even take Forsaken of Khorne in this matchup because you don't really need the armor-piercing damage of the Bloodletters. They do have a little bit more HP and that physical resistance. Forsaken have armor, a little bit worse sustained stats, but better charge and weapon strength. Again, non-AP weapon strength. It's hard to say, really. I'm be curious to know you guys' thoughts about this. The demonic leadership is definitely a point against the Bloodletters as well, and Forsaken at 70 leadership are solid enough, especially with Frenzy. Units like All-G baseline as well, so they're not going to tear her out. I don't know. You guys let me know. I maybe would take Forsaken of Khorne actually in this matchup. But they also have fire damage instead of magic damage, which is kind of a side grade in many ways. Anyway, what was I even talking about? Yeah, the choice, though, is interesting. Definitely the mass amounts of mobility make a lot of sense. From knights, shields, and axes in this case, very effective. Obviously, the Warhounds, Furies, Fleshhounds, all these are kind of go-tos. Definitely. The one interesting thing to note here, and this is one more kind of side note, Marauder Horsemen, which we didn't really see any of here. Normally, the Throwing Axe variant has shields. So, like, if you go look at Warriors of Chaos, let's see here. So the regular Throwing Axes, you notice, actually do have a missile block chance. Whereas, of course, these guys have dual axes, so they do lack that, although they have a bit more armor. They're sort of better melee damage also makes them decent hybrid in this matchup. Flaming Throwing Axes can be situationally okay, but I definitely feel like the more dedicated melee units for mobility tend to be a little bit better here. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I don't know if there's a kind of ton of Khorne mains out there, but yeah, final thing to finish up with. This guy, again, I don't know exactly his kit, but just with him on the chariot, 1600. I'm not sure about that. It's definitely a fun pick, but let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.